Okay, so uh, you know how everyone's always trying to get in early on the next big thing,
Hmm.
like whether it's some hot stock tip or
Yeah.
the newest tech gadget? Everyone wants that inside track.
Right.
And today, we're diving into something that's definitely got some buzz. The Blast Network.
Okay.
It's shaking things up in the blockchain space. And look, I know you're here because you get it, you understand the potential of blockchain, so we're not going to bore you with the basics.
Yeah, jump right in.
We're going deep. We've got, let me see, a whole stack of info here. Some of it's straight from Blast themselves, like marketing material.
Sure.
But we've also got some more, I guess, analytical notes that seem to dig a bit deeper.
And that's what we need, right?
Yeah.
Because of the blockchain space, it's crowded, lots of promises, lots of hype.
Always.
Our job today is to cut through all that and see if Blast Network, well, if it lives up to its name.
I like it. So Blast is calling themselves the full stack chain,
Okay.
which, to be honest, sounds a little, I don't know, like they're trying too hard.
Yeah, it's a bold claim.
But, okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, what are they actually offering? Give us the rundown.
So, from their materials, they're pushing a few key things.
Okay.
One, they're an EVM chain, which is huge for compatibility. Basically, they speak Ethereum's language.
Okay, so that's like Ethereum's the big dog on campus, right?
Exactly. Biggest ecosystem. Developers, apps, users, everything. If Blast is truly compatible, that opens a lot of doors.
Interesting. And they're really pushing the native yield angle you can earn just by holding ETH or stable coins on their network,
Right, passive income.
which, let's be real, sounds pretty good to everyone.
It does. It's a big selling point these days. But the question is this sustainable? Like, are we talking about a reliable stream of income? Or is this more like, finding a few bucks in your old jeans?
Good point, if it sounds too good to be true. But of course, we also get the blockchain trifecta,
Yeah.
scalability, efficiency, security.
The Holy Trinity.
Right. Like, are we even surprised?
It's the bare minimum, honestly.
But they're claiming to be faster, cheaper, and safer than everyone else. Should we be raising an eyebrow here?
I mean, it's healthy to be skeptical. We've heard these promises before.
Right.
The question is, what makes Blast different? What are they doing that others aren't? That's where it gets interesting.
Okay, so back to this whole full stack chain thing.
Yeah.
What does that even mean in the context of blockchain? You're the expert. Break it down for us.
So imagine like a tech company that not only builds software, but also like manufactures its own hardware, designs its own data centers, even lays down its own internet cables.
Wow.
They control the whole pipeline. That's the idea behind full stack, complete vertical integration.
So they're not just building on top of existing stuff. They're creating their own ecosystem from scratch.
Yeah, that's the pitch.
Which, okay, if they can pull it off, that's, what, a game changer?
It could be. It could give them a level of control and efficiency that most blockchains can only dream of. But it's a huge undertaking. I mean, massive. And there are bound to be challenges. Plenty of them.
All right, so we've got this full stack chain, promises of, what, easy money, blockchain domination. But our deeper dive material here, it gets into the how.
Okay.
How they actually plan to pull all of this off. And they use a lot of jargon. Enhanced transaction throughput, cost efficiency, energy efficiency, latency reduction, seamless DApp integration. Like, what are we even talking about?
Right. So in plain English, transaction throughput, basically how many transactions the network can handle per second.
Okay, so speed. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Cost efficiency. The fees associated with using the network. Lower fees, happier users.
Makes sense. What about energy efficiency?
That's the environmental impact, which, as you can imagine, is a hot topic with blockchain.
Yeah, all those mining farms, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you've got latency, which is just a fancy way of saying, like, the delay in processing information.
So the faster, the better.
Right. And then app integration, that's all about how easy it is for developers to build applications on their blockchain. More apps, more users, more value, at least in theory.
Okay, so faster, cheaper, greener, smoother, and more developer-friendly. Got it.
Yeah.
But how? What's the secret sauce? They throw around these terms like proof of stake, sharding, advanced algorithms.
Yeah, we're getting into the technical weeds here.
Feel free to geek out on us. We're all ears.
So proof of stake, it's a different way of doing things compared to proof of work. That's what Bitcoin uses, and some others.
Okay.
With proof of work, you've got miners, right? Solving these crazy complex puzzles to add blocks to the blockchain. And that takes a ton of computing power.
Yeah, it's like Not exactly environmentally friendly.
No, not at all. So proof of stake, it's supposed to be more efficient. Instead of miners, you've got validators. And they get chosen to add blocks based on how much of the cryptocurrency they hold. They call it staking.
Okay, so it's like you're putting skin in the game.
Exactly. And Blast is claiming this makes their network faster, cheaper, greener, the whole 9 yards.
But they would say that, wouldn't they? I mean,
Yeah.
have they actually shown any data to back this up? You mentioned evidence earlier.
Right, and that's the million-dollar question. Because while, yeah, the theory behind proof of stake, it's all well and good, Blast needs to prove that their version actually lives up to the hype. Independent audits, real-world performance data, that's what we need to see.
Okay, so healthy skepticism for now. Got it. What about this sharding thing? They made it sound like, I don't know, cutting up a pizza or something.
It's a good analogy. So imagine trying to handle, like, all online shopping orders in the world.
On one computer.
Yeah, one computer. Chaos, right?
Total meltdown.
Exactly. So sharding is like splitting that workload across a bunch of computers. Each one handles just a small chunk of the transactions. That's parallel processing, and it can make things way faster, way more efficient.
Okay, so instead of one blockchain trying to do everything, you have all these shards working together, which I guess in theory makes the whole thing more scalable.
Right.
But how do they make sure it's all secure? Like that sounds like a lot of moving parts.
That's where those advanced algorithms come in. They haven't given us all the details.
Secret sauce.
Kind of, yeah. But they're likely using some pretty sophisticated cryptography and consensus mechanisms to keep everything secure and in check.
Okay, but here's what I'm wondering. Are these features really unique to Blast? Or are they becoming like industry standard? Is this revolutionary, or are they just, really good at marketing?
That's the question, right? A lot of these concepts, they're not brand new. Other blockchains are also experimenting with proof of stake, sharding, all that. The key is in the execution. Blast needs to prove they've made real progress here, stuff that sets them apart.
So it's not just about having the ingredients. It's about what you do with them.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's address the elephant in the room here. They barely mention any downsides, like at all. No risks, no potential pitfalls. It's all sunshine and rainbows over at Blast.
Yeah.
What are they not telling us? What should we be worried about? I mean, come on, it can't be all perfect, right? Like, what's the catch?
Right, exactly. There are always trade-offs. And in blockchain security, that's non-negotiable. So they need to prove that their system is really secure, especially with all the sharding stuff. We need to see independent audits, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, they got to walk the walk.
And then there's the decentralization aspect. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of blockchain, right? Taking power away from these big centralized players.
Yeah, no one wants to replace one central authority with another.
Exactly. So if Blast controls everything, from the hardware to the software, does that create a single point of failure? A single point of control? That's a serious question.
It's like, are they really decentralized if they're the ones calling all the shots?
Precisely. And we can't forget about regulations. Because blockchain, let's be real, it's still the Wild West out there.
Oh yeah, the rules are practically being written in real time.
Exactly. So Blast needs to show that they're playing by the rules, that they can handle things like securities laws, data privacy, even financial regulations.
So many hoops to jump through. It's a lot to navigate. Okay, so we've got this full stack chain, potentially groundbreaking technology, promises of like making it rain in crypto, but also some potential red flags. This feels like a high risk, high reward situation. What would you tell someone who's, interested in Blast but doesn't want to get caught up in the hype?
Look, I think the biggest thing is don't just buy into the hype. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Look for evidence, read their white paper, see what others are saying. Don't just take their word for it.
And don't be afraid to be skeptical.
Exactly. Be critical. Ask tough questions. And compare them to other players in the space. See how they stack up.
Because there are a lot of fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Or blockchains in the,
Right. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, especially when it comes to something as volatile as blockchain.
Breach? But let's say, just for fun, that they pull it off. They build this amazingly fast, efficient, and secure full-stack blockchain. It takes over the world. What does that even look like? Paint us a picture.
Well, if they're successful, we could be talking about a whole new era for tech. Imagine transactions that are instant, practically free, open to everyone. Developers could build amazing apps without breaking a sweat. It could be huge.
Okay, that does sound pretty amazing. But it also kind of makes you wonder, like, who controls this new world? If Blast becomes the platform, do they just become, the new powers that be?
That's the question, isn't it? Because with great power
comes great responsibility. Okay, so it all comes down to finding that balance. Innovation, accessibility, control. It's a tightrope walk. Well, this has been quite the deep dive into the Blast Network. We've gone from the hype to the tech to, well, maybe back to the hype again.
And hopefully we've given our listeners some things to think about, some questions to ask.
Because knowledge is power, people, especially in the ever-changing world of blockchain.
So stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring. This is just the beginning.
And on that note, we'll catch you in the next deep dive.